Hello, my friends, and welcome to a space where pleasure is treasured, relaxation is not what you think it is, and life firing on all cylinders is what we're about. If you are somebody who wakes up every day asking for way more, consider this your happy place. Welcome to the Creation of Living podcast. I'm your host, Heather Nichols. Let's dive in. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Creation of Living podcast. We are going to have a little jam today about more on the creation of living and what's the difference between having a life and creating a living. And I don't just, we have a phrase in English, making a living, right? Like earning money, but that's not at all what I mean. And of course, money is included in the creation of living. It's very much a byproduct of the creation of living, which is an ongoing, ever expanding, active basically choosing of something new, something different, something greater that most people are not taught to function from, or really, like, we're just not educated, I would say, about choice as a reality. And choice as a reality it really is, it's such a powerful place to function from. And I would say when we know that we truly have choice, we are so dynamically creating a living when we're using the gift of choice, the power of choice, the tool of choice. We are constantly opening up new avenues, new terrain, new possibilities, new futures. That is a very different way of functioning in the world, which I think is why we need to kind of be educated about this, because it's just so different than what most people are used to. So, what is having a life? Having a life, well, having the word having is, we could even like really dissect that and look at that in lots of different ways. But I would say having a life is like it's when you've got like a goal, and it's kind of this like end stop, where you're like, okay, I want to have this, I want to have this, I want to have this, and this in my life, as my future. And you just like try to figure out whatever it is that you can figure out to get to the point where you have it. And once you have it, done. But the thing is that for the seekers of the world, the people that tend to listen to this podcast, that's just very dissatisfying. There's not nearly enough oomph to that. There's not enough like generativity. There's not enough creative juice. And a lot of us have a lot of capabilities with creation, but sometimes you don't feel like you do because they don't match what seems to work in this reality. And that's, I'll talk more about that in a minute. But also, sometimes we just like create things so easily that they just kind of like show up. We don't even realize they show up, or we're like, yeah, whatever. And we kind of just like get into a bit of a, I don't know, like a autopilot kind of thing, where you just kind of like put your life on cruise control. And I would say, if you're looking to have a life, you're probably looking to get something right. You're probably looking for this kind of like ideal of what you've decided your life should be like, rather than this active, dynamic curiosity of like, well, what's possible today? What's different today? What's available today that I could choose to create something far greater? And I would say that is more the creation of living. And so we're not looking for an end product. We're not looking for a goal. Like, what if you never had to get anywhere? And, I have two young men. My sons are 17 and almost 20. And they are, I talk to them a lot. One of them is in college and one of them is a junior in high school. And I talk to them a lot about, hey, you don't ever have to know what it is that you want to do with your life. That's a bit of a lie. Like it's a very, very misunderstood kind of reality that we kind of like need to know what it is that we want to do with our lives. Like, and because I know for me, I was always looking at, like, I remember when I was in high school and I was like, okay, well, what do I want my career to be? You know, well, I had no idea how creative I was, how different I was, how all over the place I was in a really good way. And that there was just no way I was ever going to like choose one thing at age 20 and stick to it, you know, even at age 54. I know more than ever that there's not something that I will choose and stick to, because that's not my nature. That's not how I roll. That's not what's fun for me. I love change. I love change. My acupuncturist the other day, she always comments on how different I am every time I show up in her office. And I was like, yeah, you know, change for me is like in my Olympic sport of choice, you know. I love change. So yeah, every time you see me, I'm probably going to look different. I'm probably going to be different. My energy is going to be different. And I love her because she really appreciates that. Like she was, you know, she appreciates that about me. So it wasn't a criticism, but for some people it is a criticism. And for those people that either function from that or have learned from people that function from that point of view, that change is a bad thing. You know, we try to like avoid change. We're like, okay, well, let me just have a life. Let me get it right. Let me figure out far in advance what I want my life to be like in 50 years, you know, or even 5 years. And let me just, you know, get it right, solidify it, put a period at the end of the sentence so that I have a life. And then I can just like put it on autopilot and just, you know, let it grow, you know. But the thing is if you are not actively creating your living every day, the world will create your life for you. And it will not be as good as you know that it can be. And so many people, I think, wake up at some moment and go, wait a minute, what what is this? You know, like for me, when I got divorced, I was gosh, it was 16 years ago that I got divorced, and my children were very young. They were 1 and 3, and I just, you know, kind of both my ex-husband and I kind of were like, "Is this it? Is this it? Like what?" You know, and we just were so clear that, you know, this is not. We don't want to do this. Like this is not, you know, juicy enough, and it's not. There's not enough creative, you know, possibility here for a greater future. And so we just, you know, we had a moment where we like, for I'll just speak for myself. Like I had a moment where I woke up and went, if this is everything, that was the life that I had planned. You know, I had a life. You know, I was however old I was. I guess I was 30, not 38 or something like that. I had a life. Everything that I had planned, it was there, you know. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I can't, this is going to be so boring if this is all that there is. Oh my gosh, no, you know, I can't do that. And so we like threw everything up in the air and basically like instilled a lot of chaos, which is a beautiful tool. Asking to instill chaos and choosing to instill chaos. That's an amazing tool from the Business Done Different class and the Joy of Business of like, okay, let's have some chaos here so that there's new possibilities, there's new choices, there's new actions to take, there's new energies available that I could play with. Because those of us that are the seekers of the world, the creative ones, you know, the ones that love to play, like we're going, like you're gonna want to, you're gonna like having chaos, even though it seems, you know, people make chaos a bad word. It's definitely not about, for me, it's not a bad word. It's about truly instilling creative possibility in everything. And so, you know, but for so many people, chaos is like something that shouldn't happen. It should be managed and handled. But really, for me, is like how creation occurs. And the most dynamic and juicy creation occurs with chaos. So if you're willing, you can ask to instill it and have something very different show up as you do. But you have to really be willing to let go of what you think you know in order to have something that's far greater, that's beyond what you've decided, you know, what you've decided um, you already know, or you've already like planned out as your life that you want to have, and into this sense of like, okay, every day can be a dynamic, expansive, like playground of action that I take based on the choices that I make to create true living. Living has no period at the end of the sentence. Living is, the dot, 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 or the question mark that is open ended, and it allows for so much more possibility to show up. With the creation of living, it's like imagine that every single day you could wake up, curate. Well, first of all, the biggest thing I would say, imagine that you could wake up happy, which I think a lot of people really don't. Most people don't. I'd love to change that. Well, people can be happy or not happy, whatever they, would like, but I'd love to see a world where there's a lot more people that were just truly happy for no reason. So often we think that having a life is what will make us happy, but those of us that have found ourselves in the life that we thought we needed to have, like in my example that I shared before, it's like that's not happiness, that's having a life. Happiness for creative creatures, the seekers of the world, is really this like, it actually is very simple. Like for me, happiness is like being outside, being in the sun. Like I was just sitting on my patio in the sun, having my lunch, and there was like um, flower petals like swirling all around me in the wind from my crabapple trees, and it's like that is just such simple beauty. And I think we really try to overcomplicate so many things and make so many things so much more, uh, just so much more. Oh, I don't even know what the word is. Like well, yeah, so much more complicated, so much more like we think that we need all this stimulation, basically is that this is the technological reality, AI reality, consumerism, we just need all these things. And when actually like just for me, like putting my feet on the grass is like heaven, and having the sun on my face is heaven. It's like I don't really need a whole lot more than that. And I feel like the more I create, the more I play with the tools of access consciousness and body, all the body tools that I use, all the things that I do, the more I just sort of like come home to me. The more I realize, wow, I just love nature and beautiful people and having beautiful experiences, But that's the creation of living. For me, that's the creation of living, is including my body. It's like the starting point is joy, happiness, like, and including my body in that, and knowing that my body has so much awareness and information and possibility around all of that, that if I really include my body in the creation of living, and I include the pursuit of pleasure and relaxation and joy and elegance and hedonism with and as the intensity of like a creature that I be, then every single day can be an adventure. Every single day can be different. And that's one of the things that I personally love, is for every day to be different. I don't really like to have my days be the same, like ever. I love new experiences and new adventures. And again, so many of us are made wrong for that. And it's like, oh, can't you just be happy with what you have? Oh, you just throw things away. You don't make things significant enough. I mean, there's so many different ways that we're sort of gaslighted out of our natural tendencies for so many of us for dynamic change on a daily basis. And then we start to gaslight ourselves around that and be like, well, I should just be happy with what I have. But having a life, that's the point of view that allows you to have a life. If you are living, if you are in the dynamic action of the creation of living, then you have to be curious. Like, start by being happy. Also, probably a story for another time, but I'll talk about that a little bit. But wake up happy, and then be curious. Be like, wow, there's so many possibilities for today that I don't even know what they are. and recognize that always the magic and the miraculousness, it occurs beyond what you currently know. So you've got to be willing to just let go of what you have right now and who you've decided that you are so that you can be something far greater. And let the universe show you, let your body show you what else is possible and what else is different that you could be choosing. You can't come up with that if you use your mind. If your mind can only process things that it already knows and experiences that it's already had. So you can't use your mind to access new possibilities, new choices, new awareness, new spaces, magic, miraculousness. It's not something that can, the mind does not work on that playground. And, even like sort of like the definition of a miracle is something that occurs that for which there's no explanation as to how it happened. So your mind can't fathom, like your mind is like a archaic tool on this very new, elegant playground of exploration, of adventure, of receiving, of, all these different spaces that you can explore, but you have to be present in order to explore them. You have to be curious, and you have to not be looking to solve problems. That is a huge one. If you're looking to solve problems, then you will continually create more problems so that you have problems to solve. And that's what I'm talking about with like sitting outside, sun on my face, feet on the soil, there's no problem there. And there's also no problem that I'm solving by doing that. You could put your feet on the ground and be like, I'm earthing because my body has issues, and that's a thing, but for me, it's just like, wow, my feet love the ground, um, and so everything can be approached from the perspective of it being a problem that you're solving or a possibility that you're exploring. And the difference is the point of view that you take and the curiosity that you have. If every day you were like, okay, as soon as you, open your eyes or wake up, you're like, what grand and glorious adventures are available to me today? What are the infinite possibilities for this day? What choices could I make today that I've never considered before? What do I know? What does my body know that I've never perceived before? And what is it that the universe can show me about what is possible that would be really fun for me that I don't even know what it is? And universe, bring it on, you know? And then you get up and you're like, okay, let's do this, and you may have a job, you may have appointments, you may have, it's not like, it's not like you just, I know that we all have things that we need to tend to, and we have responsibilities and we have commitments to things. But you can do all of those things with this sense of curiosity and adventure, or you can do them with a sense of being rote, the sense of like, I have a life, this is what it is, I do my life now. Or you can be like, okay, yeah, I have a job, or I have a business, or I have appointments, or I have, my time is scheduled. And what adventure can I have with this? What can I choose that's different? What can I be that's different? What can I create that's different? And how much pleasure can I find in every moment of my day? How much enjoyment can I have in every moment of my day? If you ask that question, you're inviting those energies into your world. That's where you start to function from the creation of living. No matter what your life looks like, you may have a life that looks like you have a life, job, family, marriage, whatever your commitments and responsibilities may be, or, business, or, things that you've decided you're going to do in the future, whatever it may be. You can see that as I have a life. And then you can flip it completely on its head and be like, well, I have choice. I can choose things and not choose that. Like I can choose to let go of anything that doesn't work for me anymore. And I also can choose to, continue to play with things that I enjoy. But what the big difference here is when you start to really tip into this space of creation of living, is that actively you're actively like seeking the adventure. You're seeing your life as an adventure. You're not just stopping with what your life is right now. you're willing to let it all go on a dime if that would make your life greater. Uh, you don't make any of it significant. You don't have to hold on to any of it. And you also are willing to just like use all of it and receive all of it and have everything that is your life right now and you're living right now be a gift to you. That is this like, it's like ingredients, in the kitchen for like a beautiful recipe. And you might have these same ingredients in your kitchen every day, but you can use them in a very different way each time. Add a little bit of this, add a little ginger, that's going to change it. Add a little salt, that's going to change it. Add the cinnamon, that's going to change it. And if you don't have the cinnamon, that's going to change it too. So having these, like, all the elements of your life, the people in your life, the energies, the things that you do, the choices that you have right now be things that you can play with. And also the sense of like, I wonder what ingredients are out there that I've never considered before. I wonder what I could add, what I could play with that's super different. And all you have to do is ask for it. Have the the spirit of a child, truly curious and with such wonder that so many new things, like the energy of your wonder simply brings new things and new experiences into your life every day. And as you do that, you're like, if you prioritize pleasure and hedonism and elegance and beauty and enjoyment and happiness and fun and the fullness of being alive and having new experiences and new adventures. It's like, if that's a priority for you, and those are things that you are willing to choose on a daily basis, however uncomfortable they may sometimes be, because the weird thing is, sometimes those choices, as great as they sound, can be super uncomfortable. But if you're willing to have those as your priority and choose accordingly, you are creating living. You are like, every single day, it's new, it's different. It has new energies, new tonality, it has new colors, it has new tastes, new flavors, new sensations, new experiences, new awarenesses, new choices, new possibilities. We make that available to ourselves. We make that available to ourselves. We don't realize that we do, but we do. And it's incredible how beautifully how beautiful that is. And it's just like, it blows me away because it's the change in perspective is all that we need to have, like, one, your life could kind of look the same on the surface, but the experience of it, the lived experience of it, that's this active engagement with everything, is available to you if you choose to be that different and function from that creation of living. And if you just see, this is my life, I have a life, period, end of story, then that's all it'll be. And for people that are the seekers and the creative ones in the world, that gets so boring so fast. The world has told us that that's what we desire, that's what we want, that's what's possible. But it really does get so boring so fast. We believe it, a lot of us believe it, and then we go to create it and it shows up, and then it's just like, wow, like I said, this is it, this is everything, and it's so boring. Boredom is something that occurs, it can occur frequently, often, and like, kind of out of the blue for people that are seekers of the world and creative, brilliant ones. Because, I mean, the way that this whole world is set up, it is boring. Like, it is super boring, for again, the different creatures in the world that are the seekers and the creative ones. It's boring, you know? And so anytime we fall into having a life and we fall into that trap of like, okay, I've got the money figured out, I've got the relationship figured out, I've got this figured out, or whatever, that is where boredom is just going to seep right in. And we're going to be not very happy about it. So, but the cool thing is, you change your perspective, you change your point of view, You start to let go of all the places where you've defined you, and, where you have to give you up for your life that you have, for your relationships, for, all the things, anywhere that you have to give you up. You start to, like, once you realize you don't have to do that anymore and you have the tools to stop doing that, then you have your own back in such a different way. And you're allowing your body to contribute to all of that in the universe. And the priorities become the adventure of living, the creation of living. And it can include lots of beautiful people in your life, but you don't have to have any of them. You're willing to go on your own. You're willing to go with other people and just like enjoy the fuck out of it. It's my podcast. I can say the F word if I want. So that's just a little invitation for you, or a big one, really. It's a big invitation. I want to mention, as far as tools, the Access Consciousness Foundation class it's such an incredible class. It's one of the first classes that you would take if you were going to do Access Consciousness. It's one of the first classes you would take, and I mean, people take it over and over, and as do I, and I facilitate it as well, because it changes all the time, and there's more to be received from it all the time. The foundation class is this beautiful 3.5 or 4 day class that allows you to really get your hands on tools that allow you to really dynamically transition from having a life, being normal, to creating a living, thriving, actually being happy when you wake up in the morning, being one of the few people on the planet that's happy when you wake up in the morning. And the foundation class gives the most elegant and powerful tools that I've ever seen, that I've used over and over and over and over and over and over again every single day since I took that class about, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 years ago, something like that. And they're like pragmatic tools. Like, you pick them up, you use them, they're very energetic, and they just work. It's amazing. If you're willing for them to work, they work. And the class is, I think it's like such a cool class to take again and again, because there's always new awareness and a deeper embodiment of these tools that are just, I mean, so powerful. I just have never seen anything else that works as powerfully as the tools of Access Consciousness. And there's body tools, there's money tools, there's, just general living tools, creation, relationship stuff, like anything that you would like to have more of, it's all in that foundation class. And I love doing there is a global foundation coming up with Gary, Douglas, and Dane here, who are the founders of Access Consciousness. And that's I believe it's May 8th, 2025, in Prague and online. I'm going to be an online host for that class. So I'll be with everybody on the Zoom, and I'm really looking forward to that class. I'll be in Prague for that. And I also am going to be facilitating it myself with this kind of creation of living theme. So really bringing in a lot of these tools and conversations, and some extra experiences, body yumminess and movement and cocktail classes, like, alcoholic or non-alcoholic cocktail classes. I do both because I don't really drink anymore, but I make great cocktails. And just like beautiful play with food and people and nature. It's just like such a fun experience. And I will be doing one in Budapest, Hungary, July, I think it's the 3rd through the 6th, this summer, 2025. That's the European Foundation Creation of Living class with me. And then I will have one also in the United States, in Boulder, Colorado, and in harvest time in August. August and September are my favorite months of the year to be in Boulder, where I live. The hiking is glorious. Everything is just in like full summer glory. The farmers market is incredible. Everything is just like flourishing. There's water, there's food, there's beauty, there's, just glorious sun and beautiful weather. And we go cold plunge in the creek for anybody who would like to do that, and just have all kinds of fun outings. And it's in my home, so we get to do a lot of like food, like cooking, and just fun extra stuff that is really, really cool. So that's going to be happening in August, somewhere around the 14th of August. I don't remember the exact dates, but you can find both on my website, heathernichols.com. If it's not up there yet, it will be soon. The day that this goes live, we're transitioning to a new website. My new website is almost ready, and I'm so excited. So you may or may not see it there, but if you're, a week or so after this podcast goes live, it should be there. So so just inviting you to really, what do you know about the creation of living for you that is so beyond having a life, that is so much more fun for you, that would make every day such a cool, interesting adventure of pleasure and elegance and beauty, that you might need to be willing to be really different to have that, but who cares? I mean, you want to just suffer and have a life, or do you want to, have people might, maybe be intimidated by you, but really enjoy. Be happy, wake up happy, enjoy your body, enjoy being alive. Why else are we here? That's kind of always what I've wondered, is like, why are we here if we're not just going to really have a lot of fun? And I like to do that more and more every day, and invite people to that as well. So you're invited, and I hope you enjoy. I hope this was a contribution. See you next time. Thank you for joining me for the Creation of Living podcast. If this conversation was inspiring to you, share the love. To work privately with me or for info on my upcoming classes and retreats, go to heathernichols.com. Have a beautiful day, and remember that the world thrives when you do.